Let me ask you something honest. When did you last get up from the floor without help? Not from a chair, from the floor. Maybe you were playing with a grandchild. Maybe you dropped something. Maybe you stopped getting down there at all because you already knew the answer. If that question made you pause, I want you to stay with me for the next few minutes. Because what I am about to share is not about exercise, not about a gym membership, and not about trying harder. It is about something that is already happening inside your body, quietly, every single morning, while you are still deciding what to eat for breakfast. After the age of 50, your muscles do not just rest. They begin a slow process of breaking down faster than your body can rebuild them. Scientists call it sarcopenia. Most people call it getting older. But I call it something that is far more manageable than anyone has told you. And the turnaround starts earlier than you might think. It starts tomorrow morning with one food. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what that food is, why it works, and what has likely been missing from your breakfast that has been quietly accelerating your muscle loss for years. Stay with me. My name is Dr. Albert, and I have spent 32 years as a geriatric physician working closely with adults over the age of 50. I have sat across from thousands of patients who came to me confused. They were eating well, or so they believed. They were taking their supplements. Some were even walking every day. But they kept getting weaker. Their balance was off. Their legs felt unreliable. Their grip strength had become a fraction of what it once was. In nearly every one of those cases, the problem was not effort. It was information. Specifically, what was and was not on their breakfast plate. That is what we are going to fix today. Here is something I want you to understand clearly. Muscle loss after 50 is not a slow, gradual, barely noticeable process. Research published in leading journals of clinical nutrition has shown that without specific nutritional support, adults can lose between 1 and 2% of muscle mass every year after the age of 50. That may sound small, but over a decade, that can mean losing up to 20% of your muscle strength. And the effects are not just physical. When your muscles weaken, your balance goes with them. Your joints take more impact. Your metabolism slows because muscle is the engine of your metabolism. You feel tired faster. You recover more slowly. And eventually, the things you love doing, whether that is gardening, dancing, lifting your grandchildren, or simply walking through a grocery store without needing to hold the cart, those things start slipping away. Not because of age alone, but because of a nutritional gap that almost no one is talking about. What makes this more frustrating is that many seniors are already trying to do the right thing. They eat breakfast, they take calcium, they drink water. But the specific trigger your muscles need every single morning to signal growth and repair is being missed. And most breakfast foods, the ones that have been recommended for decades, are not providing it. Let me explain what is happening inside your body each morning, because once you understand this, the solution will make complete sense. Think of your muscles like a construction crew that shows up for work every morning. They are ready to repair, rebuild, and strengthen the tissue that was slightly broken down during the previous day. But for that crew to do its job, it needs the right building materials delivered on time. If the delivery does not come, or the wrong materials arrive, the crew can only do so much. Eventually, more breaks down than gets repaired, and the building, your body, starts to show it. The building material your muscles are waiting for every morning is called leucine. It is an essential amino acid, and it is not made by your body. It has to come from food. Leucine is not just any protein building block. It is the amino acid that directly activates a pathway called mTOR, which is your body's master switch for muscle protein synthesis. Without enough leucine at breakfast, that switch stays off. Your muscles do not get the signal to rebuild, and no matter how hard you try later in the day, you cannot fully make up for a missed morning signal. Clinical research from institutions including the University of Texas Medical Branch has confirmed that the threshold needed to trigger meaningful muscle protein synthesis in adults over 50 is approximately 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine per meal. Most typical senior breakfasts, think oatmeal, toast, fruit, or juice, deliver almost none of it. So, what is the food? What is the single addition to your morning that can begin reversing this within 30 days? Eggs. Whole eggs, 2 to 3 of them eaten as part of your morning routine. But before we get to the eggs, there is something even simpler that should come first, and most people skip it entirely. The very first thing you should do each morning, before coffee, before food, before anything else, is drink water. A glass or two of plain water or warm water with a squeeze of fresh lemon if you prefer. Here is why this matters. After 6 to 8 hours of sleep, your body wakes up mildly dehydrated. Your digestive system needs water to function properly, and your cells need rehydration before they can efficiently absorb and use any nutrients you give them. Drinking water first thing helps flush your system, supports digestion, and prepares your gut to receive and process the protein that follows. If you have acid reflux or sensitive teeth, plain warm water works just as well. The lemon is a bonus, not a requirement. Give it about 20 to 30 minutes, then eat your eggs. I know, you may have heard this before and dismissed it. Or you may have heard conflicting advice about cholesterol and decided eggs were not safe. I want to address that directly, because the science has shifted significantly. Major health bodies, including the American Heart Association and Harvard Medical School, have both revised their guidance to recognize that for most healthy adults, whole egg consumption does not meaningfully raise the risk of cardiovascular disease, and that the nutritional benefit, especially for aging adults, is substantial. Here is why eggs are in a category of their own when it comes to muscle health in seniors. One large whole egg contains around 0.5 gram of leucine. That means 2 eggs deliver 1 gram of leucine, and 3 eggs bring you very close to that critical 2.5 gram threshold. But leucine is only part of the story. Eggs contain all 9 essential amino acids in proportions that are almost perfectly matched to what human muscle tissue needs. Nutritionists call this biological value, and eggs score higher than nearly any other whole food. Beyond amino acids, the yolk, which so many people have been told to avoid, contains vitamin D, choline, and healthy fats that are critical for how your body absorbs and uses that protein. When you eat only the whites, you are removing the very compounds that help carry the amino acids into muscle tissue. That is like buying the fuel but forgetting the engine oil. Now, here is something worth understanding about timing, and I want to be honest with you rather than dramatic about it. After a night of fasting, your muscle tissue is in a mild state of breakdown. Your body has gone 6 to 8 hours without protein, and your muscles are ready for raw materials. Research does suggest that eating protein earlier in the morning, rather than skipping breakfast or pushing your first meal to midday, supports better daily muscle protein synthesis. But I want to be clear, there is no magic 30-minute deadline. The idea of a rigid anabolic window has been significantly revised in recent nutritional science. Analysis published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition found that overall daily protein intake and consistency matter far more than hitting an exact minute on the clock. What this means practically is straightforward. Eating your eggs within a couple of hours of waking is genuinely beneficial. Not because you will miss a narrow window if you wait, but because starting your day with adequate leucine sets a strong protein baseline that supports your muscles throughout the entire day. It is less about urgency and more about building a reliable daily habit. Consistency, it turns out, is the real key. If what I'm sharing today is opening your eyes to something your body has quietly needed for a long time, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel. I release new videos every week specifically for adults over 50 who want clear, honest, and evidence-based health information. Subscribing takes 1 second and means you will never miss something that could genuinely change how you age. I want to tell you about Kendrick. He was 67 years old when he first came to see me, referred by his primary care doctor after 2 falls in 1 year. He was a retired high school football coach, a man who had spent decades teaching young people how to build strength, endurance, and discipline. And there he was, sitting across from me, embarrassed and confused, unable to understand how he had ended up so weak. Kendrick was not sedentary. He walked his neighborhood every morning. He did light stretching. He watched what he ate, or so he thought. When I reviewed his diet, his breakfast was almost always the same: a bowl of oatmeal with berries, a glass of orange juice, and a cup of coffee. Heart healthy, he told me. Low fat, a good start to the day. I had to deliver some difficult news. That breakfast, despite being well-intentioned, was giving his muscles almost nothing to work with, less than 5 grams of total protein and virtually no leucine. Every morning, his muscles were showing up for work with no materials. His walk was actually accelerating the problem slightly because his body was recruiting amino acids from his own muscle tissue to fuel the activity, with no morning replenishment to follow. We made one change to his morning routine. It started with a glass of warm water the moment he woke up, followed by 3 whole eggs cooked in a little olive oil, eaten within the first 1 to 2 hours of his morning. Everything else stayed the same. No new medications, no supplements, no dramatic dietary overhaul. At his 6-week follow-up, Kendrick walked in differently. There was a steadiness to him that had not been there before. He told me his legs felt more reliable going downstairs. His grip was noticeably stronger. And for the first time in over a year, he had gotten down on the floor to play with his 2-year-old granddaughter and stood back up without help. He said it quietly, like he was still a little surprised it had happened. That is what one change to one meal can do when the change is the right one. Let me give you a clear and practical action plan based on everything we have covered today. The first and most overlooked step is this: start every morning with water before anything else. 1 to 2 glasses of plain water or warm water with a little lemon if your stomach tolerates it well. This rehydrates your body after overnight fasting, activates your digestive system, and prepares your gut to properly absorb the protein that follows. Give it roughly 20 to 30 minutes. Then eat your eggs. 2 to 3 whole eggs cooked in a way that preserves the yolk. Do not skip the yolk. It contains the fat-soluble vitamins and healthy fats your muscles need to absorb and use what the whites provide. If you have specific concerns about cholesterol, speak with your doctor. But know that current evidence supports whole egg consumption as safe and beneficial for most adults. The next thing to consider is what you are pairing with your eggs. Adding a small amount of healthy fat, such as half an avocado or a drizzle of olive oil, has been shown to enhance the absorption of fat-soluble nutrients from the yolk. This is not about eating more, it is about eating smarter. Third, be consistent. Muscle protein synthesis is not a one-time event. It is a daily signal. One great breakfast will not undo months of insufficient protein, but 30 days of consistent morning eggs will. Research suggests that within 3 to 4 weeks of meeting the leucine threshold at breakfast daily, measurable changes in muscle protein synthesis rates and functional strength can begin to appear. Fourth, if you are currently eating breakfast foods that are heavily refined, such as cereals, white toast, or pastries, consider replacing rather than adding. Those foods create blood sugar spikes that can actually interfere with protein absorption and muscle signaling. The goal is not to eat more at breakfast. It is to eat more purposefully. And fifth, mention this to your doctor at your next visit. Ask about your protein intake in the context of muscle health. Ask whether a simple dietary adjustment might support your strength and balance goals. You deserve a doctor who takes that conversation seriously. And if they do not, that is important information too. Muscle loss after 50 is real. It is measurable. And it is one of the most significant but least discussed factors in whether you will remain independent, mobile, and strong as you age. But it is also one of the most responsive things in your body to the right nutritional input. You do not need a gym. You do not need expensive supplements. You need a glass of water when you wake up and 2 or 3 whole eggs shortly after, eaten consistently every morning. That is a starting point that is within reach for almost everyone watching this. And in 30 days, if you commit to it, you may feel the difference in ways that go far beyond what you expected from a breakfast change. I want to leave you with a question I would love for you to answer in the comments below. When you woke up this morning, what was the first thing you ate? Just that. Tell me. I read every comment, and your answer may help me create content that speaks even more directly to what you need. If this video helped you understand something about your body that nobody else has explained clearly, please share it with someone over 50 that you care about. A spouse, a sibling, a friend. Sharing this is one of the kindest things you can do for someone you love. Subscribe if you have not already, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a video. Next week, I am going to be talking about the one mineral that most seniors are deficient in that is silently affecting their sleep, their mood, and their muscle recovery. You will not want to miss it. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video.